Before starting today's soft talk, I ask you for a small favor. Through this channel, where we are trying to promote citizen journalism, a strain of journalism that is free from vested interest groups, powerful vested interest groups that try every means to implement the so-called free media. We need your support, your constant encouragement, and your constant support to be your true voice. So we request you to subscribe to this channel in great numbers, comment on our presentation, and press that like button. Your support means the world to us. Your support has not been forthcoming that much, I must admit. So once again, I request you to throw your weight behind this initiative towards citizen journalism. Today I will present a bit about civic movement that has been on the way recently, if its activities are anything to go by. In this context, uh, that's my piece published in the Annapurna Express Daily, without a byline, of course. Nonetheless, I present it to you today. The status of civic movement, whether its revival is possible, whether it is making a comeback like during this movement for democracy and human rights during those years of regression, during the royal regime. So welcome to the program. The picture on the background is that of Annapurna Post, of course. The credit is very much there. The logo is there. Remember the self-styled civic society movement over the decades after the establishment of multi-party democracy with constitutional monarchy in 1990? The movement used to create waves on the streets of the Kathmandu Valley in particular after each instance of attack from the powers of the yore on cherished ideals like democracy and human rights. Vignettes from the show of strength on the streets may still be fresh in the minds of many of those who are growing up, graying, or in the prime in the late 1990s or the mid 2000s. Campaigners representing the movement hitting the streets and excesses of the state during those demonstrations used to fuel further the movement for those ideals. In the initial phase of such protests, political parties used to be conspicuously absent. Why? Because of their own doing, mostly. Because they had, after winning over the forces of the Yo, after a tough fight with widespread support from the public, these forces have themselves become the figures they used to detest. Like the faces of the old regime, they too had become more or less tyrants, donning the garb of democracy and grown corrupt, bothered only about petty interests of their kith and kin at the expense of the larger public. Naturally, they would prefer to wait and watch. Apparently, they would want to join the movement only after finding that the movement of the civic society, a motley group of liberal minded people representing various walks of life, had gained significant strength. After Nepal's switch to a federal, secular, republican order, those campaigners from the civic movement appeared to have lost steam. Perhaps the campaigners thought their mission was accomplished, or they thought that milk and honey had started flowing in the country. Charges that they were affiliated to one or the other political party did not help. But a rude awakening seems to have come to them after police excesses against the victims of loan sharks who were demanding justice from the state. On Tuesday, a group under the wider citizens' movement hit the streets, staging a march past from Santivatika to the Parliament building in Vaneswar. Issuing a press release, the movement has drawn the attention of the government toward the plight of the victims and the atrocities committed against them. Is this pointing? Is this hitting the streets on the part of the civil society, pointing toward the revival of the civic movement? The question hangs in the air. With this remark, I wrap up this edition of Soft Talk. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening. Comment on this presentation specifically about whether the revival of the civic movement is possible. Does that protest on Tuesday point toward a revival of the civic movement? Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening.